Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. And we are here. I'm Crystal, of course, and that's Misha. And we are going to be doing
I'm so
our
sorry.
Married at First Sight review. Misha feels a little off. We're gonna give her a minute to just relax because her phone is just not acting
Ignore
right.
me.
You know, sometimes just things just don't act right. A couple weeks ago, stuff just wasn't acting right, and so now you know what? Let's just you know what? We got a new countdown. It looks good. You're gonna be seeing that countdown and a couple of different things from us. So let's just get it going and thank you for coming in. So go ahead and start. Who do you want to start with?
Um, who should we start with? They all have their little tidbits. I'll let you pick.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. I wanted to start with one of the heaters today. Let's start, but I'm gonna leave the other ones, the one that we really disagree on, till later. Let's start with Rachel and what's his name? Rachel and Jose. I have to stop doing
Okay.
that. Y'all, you know that I do that. I can't remember his name, and I go like this, and I'm like, let's start with Rachel and like I gotta y'all stop me from doing that. Like, give me a hand slap, a virtual hand slap or something. So,
Right.
what did you think of their conversation? Whew.
I'm annoyed with Rachel. I'm just like, I am done with hearing the I don't want anybody to control me. I have pride, blah blah blah. It's so annoying. Like, I don't know if that's just her personality, because even with that 35 pounds, like I told you with that 35 pounds, I don't want to hear how you lost 35 pounds again. Let it go. So it's like she's doing the same thing with Jose, where it's like every single scene, I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to put my money in your account. I don't want to, okay, I get it. Communicate it and move on to the next thing. So it's, because I think people might have mixed feelings about Jose and Rachel. They might think Jose's controlling. I don't think he's controlling yet. I think he probably has a controlling side. I don't think he's been controlling yet. I think that he has a desire to lead, to be the man of the house, and Rachel keeps like interfering with that. It's like she's not ready to have a man of the house. Like, so I agree with Rachel. She does not need to be putting all her money in one joint account. I agree with that. But the other stuff, let it go, Rachel. Let this man lead, provide, protect, do what he's supposed to do as a man, and be happy. That's what I have to say about them right now.
I agree, and I think that her and somebody else we're going to talk to in a minute are just walking contradictions. And I just don't get that in the beginning, when you had your first interview before the wedding, you said, you know, sometimes I have uh, some issues with money, and, you know, I could use some help with that. That's what she said at
Uh-huh.
first. And
She
then
did say
before
that.
they got on the plane, to Florida, she's like, I can be, not a childish. I need to grow up when it comes to money. So I do need some help with that. She definitely said that too. You know, I'm not where you are, and I need some help with that. So she that literally said the words, I need to grow up when it comes to those type of things. And
Mhm.
then, and now she's giving him all of this combativeness, and I was really giving her some rope. Remember, I said it's probably not that bad. It's probably not that bad. But the more she keeps oversharing, stop saying all of this stuff, because now I think she is
Yeah.
totally broke. I think her credit score is in the crapper, and I'm like, are you trying to warn him? Are you trying to get him to run because you are doing a great job? Because stop saying that. And and I mean, and really, if it's this bad, you should not be doing trips once a month, and then you are also doing a big trip twice every 2 years. That's too much. You need to cut out some of that stuff, get back on track, and then you can start doing this stuff again. Because now you just look immature, and it's so funny because when I say the word immature, it reminds me of when living in California when I was still there. We had some friends. I felt like they were either out of college, out of high school, and they got matching outfits. They did a whole Disneyland trip. The sisters, they took the kids. Everybody got matching outfits. Got a hotel room up there. Rented a car. Did bought their men's a gear and all of this stuff. Went to LA, and then they come back and the lights are off. So where they do that at?
Uh-uh.
So I was like, are you crazy that you're taking all of these? I said, that's immature. And when I thought immature, I thought how these girls did that back in the day. And me and my friend Shireen, and we were like, wait a minute, you didn't pay your bills before you went on your trip. So that's exactly what I thought about when she keeps talking like this. I'm like, stop, stop. Are you seriously telling me that? And I get the YOLO. I get sometimes you like, but like I told you, I'm going on a trip, but I'm like, okay, this for this money. All of these bills are paid. Like the dog is paid.
Right.
Everything is done. You don't do that. So um, she is definitely telling me that he has something to be afraid of. But it's so funny. Yes, I think that he does try a little too hard, but I think that from what he's getting the impression that she needs the help. He's getting the impression that maybe I do need to. The more she talks and the more she overshares, um, he's like Las Vegas or in
Right.
New York, which is funny because New York is really actually kind of expensive, but at the same time, it's not as expensive as Switzerland. And
I will add that New York and Vegas trips can be more expensive than going out of the country. Some places are very cheap
hmm
if you're going out of the country. So that part to me, I understood what he was saying, but at the same time you have to think about those places are expensive too.
right.
So, but I don't know. I wish she said she want to go to Switzerland or
Yes,
something.
she
That
want to go
might
now.
be
I
expensive, but they could go to some island somewhere for super cheap and it could be cheaper than Vegas or New York.
and one trip a year or one trip every two, but until things get straight. And if you really work hard, and from what Johnny is telling her, if we really work hard, you could get back on track in a year and a half, 2 years depending. But
I don't even know
she's
why that's
like,
on her mind, honestly.
right, right, why is that on her mind? And oh, and Misha, I got something to tell you. I don't mean to brag, but I got an 815 credit score. I'm like, stop.
No, no, no. But he said, "Do you want to know my credit score?" She stayed mute. She did not say anything. My credit score is 815. I was like, boy, didn't nobody.
Did nobody ask you?
I was like, my goodness.
Did
Like,
nobody ask you? So the fact that and what he does, I don't want to brag, but he's very proud of that. He's very proud of that. So, the fact that I just feel like she's just oversharing. And she's very, intimidated, but at the same time, I feel like she just feels like she's not going to measure up. So
Mhm.
let me just tell all of this now. Stop, just stop. Like, mhm. And because now he feels like he needs to hold your purse, and he probably doesn't.
Exactly, exactly. Now he's thinking less and less and less of her as far as being responsible. And he feels, because he already has that nature in him to be controlling, do things my
Mhm.
way. Now I bet he's feeling like, no, she needs to listen to me. She needs, so just like with Eric and Virginia, he's like, no, you don't sleep on people's couches. You need to listen to me because that's not what you do as a wife. And
Right.
it kept on going and going and going into other things because
And he's not even
what was the
in.
purpose of her? I'm going back to last season, but what was the purpose of her telling him that on the honeymoon?
I don't
Why did
know.
you
I don't.
need to tell him that? Like,
On the honeymoon. It didn't make any sense. And I said, gosh, why don't you wait? And I said, this would have been the perfect time to wait till you got to the house, saw his whiteboard, and saw him, calculate everything to the penny, and then they have the conversation. But you're just like, this is like bedroom conversation. The finances are
right.
bedroom conversation, which is
Speaking speaking of the bedroom, I want to get into this whole checking of the boxes. So, to my knowledge, he told Rachel she checks all his boxes. Then this episode, Rachel, I felt kind of like they were talking in code, like they weren't really saying, but I was reading between the lines and it seemed like, so obviously they're over affectionate, super PDA to the max. And it seems like what I picked up from this conversation is that she made a move to kind of initiate the sex and he turned her down. And now he's saying, well, I can't go there if all my boxes aren't checked. So, what was your whole take? It was giving
yes,
me a little bit of Ryan vibes,
that's exactly what
but
I was about to say.
I'll let you go on what you
It's
think about
very
that.
Ryan. And some people like on Kojo show were saying they're very suspicious of this, and they saw some other things when it has to do with Jose.
Sexuality.
When it has to do with Jose, that they noticed some things. I really didn't notice anything until today, until the other day. I didn't know. I was like, "Oh, what was that? Wait a minute." She's like, we're not connect. We need to make sure that we connect in that area." And then he wants to see if other boxes are checked. He wants to make sure that that everything is connecting in that area,
Mhm.
which makes no sense in the fact that he was always very insecure about, will she like me? Does she like me? Is she interested in me? Does she find me attractive? So if she made a move,
Right.
that's saying she finds you attractive. Let's get it going. And then he wants to wait. And I get the fact that, yes, she's scaring you with the finances, and that's a big issue for him. But why didn't he at least sleep with her? You know what I mean? Because earlier, a couple of weeks ago, he said, if my wife makes a move or if my wife wants to, I'm not going to stop her. That wouldn't be manly
He
of me.
he did say that. You're right.
So I didn't understand that. And it was definitely, I was reading the same things you were reading. And um, a lot of people are saying the same things that a lot of people were thinking about Ryan too. That we just didn't
Mhm.
understand. But watching the other show, watching Kev on Stage, their last interview before we found out that they're getting a divorce, he said that they've been having sex the whole time. Ryan did. He
Crystal,
said
I
no. So this is what their take on it was, and I'll send you the links to that.
mhm.
That they had sex. I think, and this is what Mrs. Kev on stage said. They probably had sex on the honeymoon, and then she goes because she's a flight attendant. Goes on a couple trips. They didn't have sex for like a week or two, and then that video, that she showed comes out. But they'd been having sex the whole time. We were like, what? And that's why Kojo did this whole thing about why did he lie? Why are they giving this impression that they're not and they have been? Yeah, I'll send it to you. So I thought that was weird. I think
I
it's weird
think
too.
I think that was a lie. When I heard Ryan saying that, I was like, that's a lie. It seemed like a cover up. Like he's seeing all the talks, the YouTube videos about what is wrong with Ryan. So I think it started, which to me, in my opinion, I do believe that he's a virgin because he seems very insecure in, because if you're abstinent, there's a certain confidence you have in just being abstinent and waiting till you're ready. But he
Hmm.
comes with a lot of insecurities where I felt like he was covering it up so he doesn't look like he's gay
Suspicious.
or something's wrong. So that's how I felt with Jose. Because why are you kissing Rachel all in the mouth? And why are you grabbing her by the neck? Why are you
You think
doing
that
all of this stuff in front of cameras, in front of the other couples? Why are you doing all of that to get behind closed doors and say, you don't check all my boxes yet? I'm not ready to go there.
but wait, go back. What do you think that you think that Ryan was virgin, but what did you think about Jose? You don't think Jose's a virgin?
He doesn't strike me as a virgin. I did pick up a little sexual fluidity. Maybe he's batting for both teams. Allegedly, that's my opinion. I don't know. That's the first thing I picked up about him from his pictures before I even saw videos of him. And then that was kind of what I was feeling from him. So for him to be able to turn on the PDA for the cameras, but then behind closed doors can't do anything, which with Ryan, Ryan was giving her nothing. He couldn't even tell her she looked pretty. He couldn't even, they barely gave each other little pecks, but there was
Right.
nothing like that. So that's what's weird is that he's so laying it on thick in public, and then in private she's not checking all your boxes, and so that makes me think, I don't know,
Right. No, I
that
will
makes
agree
my
with
mind
you on
wander.
that.
That's
I
all.
will agree with you because I didn't get virgin from Jose. I definitely didn't get
Hmm.
virgin. I definitely thought, huh, there's even though I was like, I see something, but I may be wrong, so I'm not going to say anything just yet. And then when I saw that the other night, I was like, okay, how long is he going to do this? Is this what's going on here? And
Right.
and then these are the conversations that they're having in bed. These are the conversations that they're having 4 days in. And you and I are right, like agree that Rachel, you need to just relax and just stop having these deep conversations. And even she's even saying, I know that we're already having all of these deep conversations, and yeah, I know you might be tired for one more, but let's talk about this again. And I'm just like, stop. Just stop then, because
I
you're
agree.
just oversharing, and the truth is he may not be interested in you. so
Right.
so and honestly, you're giving him a box to uncheck. You're telling him that you're not checking my boxes, and I might want to move on after this. So I just think she needs to stop oversharing. um yeah, maybe he just wants somebody to do things with and just spend time with, and he did all of these things like getting everything right, like buying homes and doing all of these, um, getting financially ready for a wife. But then the wife that he gets isn't isn't who he really planned for. So
But he was throwing the condoms on the bed.
You're right.
So that was a sign. He had the bow tie on, saying he was ready to do a little dance for her.
You're right.
So he was sending all the signals that he's ready in front of the cameras.
And she's the one that took the condoms out the bag.
Yeah.
Now that could have
She probably
totally been.
thought, okay, it's go time on this honeymoon. It's going down. And
And it didn't go down. And
that's
then
weird.
she gets, or he gets all scared because she's broke. That it's just a lot of things are just very suspicious. But you're not the first person to mention this, because I too was like, what is that? Because she's saying that there may not be sexually compatible, and it's what, day 4 or 5, and she's also talking about being broke, which to him, I think money gives him stability. Like, yeah, that high credit score is what turns him. Listen, that's what.
Right.
Right. So, um, hmm, that's really it for them. Does that those two conversations, those, and
Yeah.
a lot of people were saying that he's being too strict with her and he's not giving her other options. But I feel like if she would stop oversharing, he would want to give her other options. If she would stop saying that, um, and she's so wishy-washy, like, I'm immature, I could grow up in those areas financially, but then she wants to be independent. And I actually get being independent. I actually get wanting to have your own money. I definitely think you should have your own money, but at the same time, you have to actually, know what to do with it and don't just throw it out the window. So it's,
Hmm.
yeah, but I definitely want to keep an eye on if they have any more of these bedroom conversations that go nowhere. That's what now.
Ciao.
Hmm. Who do you want to go to next?
Um, let's go to Gil and Merla. Let's go to
Okay.
Gil and Merla. So what? So I'll let you go first. Well, I'll. This is all I'll say starting out. So Gil says he wants 8 or 7 kids, and but he's not motivated by money. And yeah, so it reminded me of Vince from last season. Wanted all these kids, and he's still trying to get his business off the ground. It reminded me of Sean from Put a Ring on It. Wants all these kids, doesn't have stable income. Now here's Gil, wants 8 or 7 kids. What do you think about that?
I partially think that he was ribbing her, giving her a jab, because there's no way that she was going to go for that. Because besides that, after the wedding, when they first sat down, he asked her how many kids you want, and she said 2 at the most, and then I want the revitalization surgery. So he knows that if he remembers every other thing that she has said, then why would you even bring up 7 or 8 kids? That didn't make any sense. I said, this doesn't make any sense for you to even mention you want 7 or 8 kids, even if some of them are adopted. I just thought that doesn't make any sense, because you know what she said before you guys again even got on this plane to Florida. You want 7 or 8 kids.
Right.
That's just weird. It just it didn't it didn't make any sense to me. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree, Tia. I think that he is trolling her. I'm like, there's something else he said, and if you remind me, did I write it down? Um, yeah, but the 7 or 8 kids, I said that makes no sense, especially with her. So yeah, some of the things he's been saying, I'm like, oh, the thing about the dog, I think that was a joke too, because she had said
No,
before
he
they got
was
on that plane.
serious about that dog
It made
and
no
her
sense.
walking that dog. He wants to get married. He wants her to lighten his load. That shows his motives right there. Okay, I'm paying for this dog walker. We're married. I don't need to pay this bill no more. You need to walk the dog down. And I'm like, there's Gil being Gil. So, like, he was really mad. Like, out of all, you can even see him get mad about the kiss, about the physical, anything, but that dog walking, he was upset. He said, I don't even know if I want to get to know you anymore. Like, that really bothered him. So,
Okay, let's go over this because you're okay to some extent. You're right. Like he wants her to feel. I feel like he wants her to feel comfortable with the dog, but to say I want you to walk my dog, I said this girl told you that she is not interested. She doesn't like
right,
dogs. They come with responsibility. I don't want to walk them. Before she got on this plane to Florida, it's not going to happen. So I feel like we already know that he likes to tease her. Like, he's been a little, well, passive aggressive. He'll say that he's teasing her, but he's not. He's serious. Like, he'll say in some of it, he's very honest. You're high maintenance. You're this, you're that. But then at the same time, he'll kind of put it under some shade and say, well, at least you're not a Karen and stuff like this. So I said, when he did this dog thing,
right.
I was like, this girl told you a week ago that she don't want to have anything to do with that dog. So you just need to, hopefully that she just say stuff like, I hope you feel comfortable. I want you to get to know my dog and feel comfortable with her or him. I don't know. I can't remember the dog's name now. It's actually a really cool name. But for him to say, excuse me, for him to say, I want you to walk my dog. And when you even already have a dog walker, to me, I'm like, if you have a dog walker that you're paying to come in and walk your dog, and then you tell her somebody that you know doesn't want to walk their dog, or that you know is not interested, that to me sounds like that he was messing with her a little bit. And I know that he does that to his detriment. Like he needs to stop. But I said, that doesn't make, to me, I said, stop being so silly, girl. You know that that's not what's going to happen. So that's what
I
I got from it. So then,
I
yeah.
think he's kind of showing his selfish side, even with the whole expecting her to walk the dog, knowing good and well she don't like dogs. And then with the whole politics thing, when they had the discussion about doesn't matter if your partner has the same political views as you. And then he says, well, if it advances my career, if it helps me in my career, that's what I want. And Mirla had to tell him it's not all about you and your career. Like these laws affect a lot of different people. So I kind of I picked it up even more that he's kind of all not all, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to say he's all about himself, but I saw kind of the selfish side to him. But yeah.
That's another conversation. I thought that was so strange because I was like, wait, you're okay, you're black, but you're also Colombian. So for him to be either independent or um not left, and I was like, I said that doesn't make any sense. But I know that she kept interrupting him, and I know that but to me, for you to be selfish in that on that subject is just really strange to me, Gil. Um, and she kept interrupting him, and I think that she was shocked and getting frustrated. But him like saying, "Well, if it advances my career and stuff like that," I said that makes no sense, Gil. So for him to I think that's a contradiction. If he's a firefighter
Mm-hmm.
and not motivated by money, a lot of people, and we were talking about this with Sean, a lot of some politicians, we know not the politicians that voted in the last election. We know, after everything that's gone on in the last 2 years, but uh, we were saying that some of them just vote that way because of economics, because of the money. But that doesn't make any sense, Gil. If you're not motivated by money, which you've said several times, and you very much have gotten frustrated by her in these money conversations, but then you're more an individualist and think something needs to advance your career. I said that. What are you talking about? So I think she was, and her getting
Another
frustrated and
thing that
interrupting
doesn't
him.
make sense, another thing that doesn't make sense is for that whole narrative is the fact, like, I think they showed it on the previews, he only works 2 days a week. He's a volunteer firefighter. Is that really, that's not even your career? Can you call that your career? It sounds like it's a part-time job. So why are you voting to change things about something that's technically not a career for you? So
Right, and
that
I
didn't
think
make sense either.
when we first started this, we were saying we figured out that he's a personal trainer is probably his job, like that's making the money, and then he's also a volunteer firefighter. But both jobs are not a career. Both jobs are not bringing you millions of dollars, or even hell, even $100,000 a year. So it made no sense. His political stance just didn't make any sense to me. So I said, this
Mm-hmm.
is not a time. Now I don't get that you're ribbing her on this time. I was like, this makes no sense. You're literally contradicting yourself. So you're not motivated by money, but then you want somebody to, but you're going to vote in a way that's going to advance your career. So yeah, that that was really, it's kind of troubling too. And I do know that she kept
Yeah.
interrupting him and he kept getting frustrated, but he was also been frustrated this whole time. And it was
Mhm.
just another thing for him to get frustrated about. And to me, I was like, why are you even talking about this at the table like this? You know, if it was anyone else, we would have been like, if he had shut his mouth, I would be like, we know what his political stance is. But to hear that, that's kind of
Mhm.
surprising. That was not kind of, that's very surprising. So So Sharon was like, what does motivated by money really mean? So to me, Sharon, when their first dinner, Mirla was, he gave her the connection with, well, what really motivates you? What interests you? If I brought you a Cartier bracelet or if I knitted you a quilt, something that I took my hard earned time to take the time to knit you a quilt that's personal to you. And she said, no, I want the bracelet. She's very much motivated by money and labels. And I don't even think that's her love language is uh, gifts or act of service. I don't think she knows what her love language is, but she is motivated by money, making more money. How can I get the next dollar? Once I get this far in my career, I want to get to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So, and I think that she's not just motivated by money, but motivated by the flash and to be seen in a certain light. That's what I think.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And I think it's also her childhood. Like, I think she still sees herself as that little girl who couldn't go places or couldn't afford things. So now she's trying to like overcompensate from that instead of just my childhood was my childhood. Like, I don't understand why she feels the need to do the most. Like, as far like that doesn't, like, buying designer things and having all this luxury things does not change the fact that you grew up poor.
Right. It
You
doesn't change the fact
still
that
have the same childhood.
you're going to still
Hmm.
have the same childhood and you can still end up lonely whether you got millions and millions of dollars. So yeah,
Hmm.
money's not going to keep you, well, money can keep you company. But it'll be a one-sided conversation. um that's another thing. Gil grew up the same type of way. He grew up poor too. And for him to say he wants 7, 8 kids, when I think he's either only child or I think he has one or two siblings, he does not have a house full of siblings.
Mm,
And for him
okay.
to be motivated by money, or not, excuse me, not motivated by money, but then have that political stance and want 7, 8 kids. It made no sense. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That whole,
and even the whole Merla she wants to give her kids what she didn't have. And I think a lot of parents do that. And I feel like you should give your kid what's best for them. Because every kid isn't the same. Just because you grew up poor doesn't mean you need to buy all these designer clothes for your kid and do all that. Like, I had parents who wanted to give me better than they had. I was sent to a private school and bullied for being the only Black girl there. So that was not the best thing for me, but my parents wanted to give me what they didn't have. And I was like a latchkey kid, like Rachel, like she didn't know how to ride a bike. I don't know how to ride a bike because my parents were home to teach me how to ride a bike. And so I think in parenting, you have to focus on the kid
mhm.
themselves and not trying to overcompensate for material things you didn't have instead of actually focusing on your child, what will propel them in their life, whatever their
To the
desires
next step.
are, wants are. It's like what will be best for them, not what will help you get over your childhood.
Right. And that's very true. A lot of parents definitely do that. Or, there's a lot of these showbiz parents that they wish they were in showbiz. So now they're just like shoving their kids into doing something that their kids probably doesn't want to do. You really need to get to know your child.
Right.
And I think that Gil probably wants a big family around him, knowing that his father passed away. Well, not passed away, he was murdered at age 14, and that's very traumatic for him. Um, but then as well, Rachel's still a contradiction to me. The cookies and the little niceties that she was giving me, I'm very suspicious of that. Um, and to prove that point
Didn't
that you
those
made,
cookies look funny though? I was like, what cookie has that many chocolate chips
right?
on it? I don't know. Something was
It
weird
was
about
totally
them
staged.
cookies.
It was totally. I was like, you got that from the deli across the street. I was like, it was totally staged. Another thing was staged, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But um, but for her, he wanted to have another conversation about taking my name, and he even wanted to compromise and say, why don't you hyphen it? Why don't you be Fieta Sereno, I think is his last name. And he said, well, you're Mexican, and that's a lot of Mexicans do that in tradition. And she said, I think I'm the other type of Mexican, which is not true because because the reason why you want to keep your last name is because your father died or was murdered, and that's one of your connections to him. So you have your father's last name. I was like, he's even trying to compromise with you, and you're saying no. That further proves your point, Misha, that we were saying she doesn't like him. She doesn't like him. And this was
Right.
remember Bree. As soon as she saw that man walk down the aisle, she was like, "Well," first she was like, "Well, it might be Miles Morales. I'm not sure." She was like, "Oh no, Morales." she was done.
Wow.
So
That's true.
remember that. So it does further proves our point. She does not want that man. She's not. No, she was like,
Mhm.
"I'm the other type. I'm the other type of Mexican girl." No, you're not. Yeah. Anyway, the whole thing. Go ahead.
So
Sorry.
let's get into Ryan and Brett. So they
Uh,
so their whole, I guess the only thing interesting about them this episode was the whole politics. Yes, the politics, the parties, political parties. Brett feels it does matter if your partner has the same political views as you. Ryan says no, it doesn't. So, what is your take on that?
okay. Thought I was mute. On mute. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna switch this one because I forgot my movie Merlin banner earlier.
Oh,
So I did put Squawking Gil because I'm still because he likes to be a gossip. But my take on that is it does matter because if and I was watching, of course, I watched Kev and Melissa, and they were like, if you're voting one way and your wife is voting another, all you're doing is counseling each, and you're in the same household. All you're doing is canceling each other out. And it
Mhm.
is going to be an issue. It may not be an issue now, but when you do have kids, and that is what Brett was saying, how you want the kids to be raised, how you want the kids to have an understanding of people and cultures and things like that, that is going to be an issue again, especially how things have looked in the last 2 years. But Ryan saying, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. And I remember, what's his name, Eric from last year saying it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, which is so interesting to me. And it's a lot of times it's that political party that doesn't mind marrying a wife or taking a partner that's more liberal and left. And we're like, no, when it comes to raising the kids. And she's a school teacher too. I think she said she teaches history. So this is why she's like, I need to have a conversation with you. She's a city girl.
Mhm.
She doesn't listen to country music. So she's either we even discussed this. She's either listening to rap music or she's listening to rock, and that says that
Mhm.
that is not her political view. So to me, it does matter, especially when it comes to having kids. And we were talking on the other show, and we're thinking that he thinks it has to do with money. A lot of people, and I think, of course, before this last administration uh, that voted that way, just did it because of economics and money. But
Mhm.
yeah, there's Republicans and then there's Trumpism, and we knew Trump, you're probably racist. So Ryan really wants to have that conversation to make sure where his views lie, and where his views lie. So hopefully, I don't think that he's like Eric, because Eric was flying the red hat around, and Eric was flying his helicopter on.
I think he's on along that same
Okay.
boat. I think
Okay.
he might not be as extreme, but I definitely was sensing that he was. Even the even the fact that the red hair was just such a big deal to him, I was like, I don't know. I think his views are a lot different from Brett's.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah,
he's
I
such a
was kind of getting
traditionalist.
that he might. So I was getting he was definitely voting for Trump. That's what I was getting from Ryan. So yeah, I agree with Brett when it's that extreme, like of differences where you just like where there's things going on in the world, socially, racially, and you're on the other end and your partner's on this end. That's definitely, I see where that can cause a conflict when your views are so different, because I think that's what they're missing. I think that's what Ryan's missing and Gil's missing, that kind of some of these political views kind of are telling of your character.
Right.
They like, so I think that's what they were missing out of it. But it's not just about your career, it's not just about farm animals, it's these views are really, it tells how your mind and your heart thinks, and that's very important.
And so, to your point about Gil, I think that's more of a character trait. I was like, that's why it's so confusing to me, because to me, and I know that you and I kind of have opposing views on Gil, but to me, he's come off like a pretty easygoing guy and a pretty not
Mhm.
that person up until now. So I was like, well,
Okay.
that's a character trait because you know, you're a black man or you are a Colombian. So I was like, that's a character trait then. And I know black people who have um, voted for Trump or voted for
Right. Same.
Republican. I do. I definitely do. But that to me is a character trait. Whereas Ryan, and you know, I'm sure if Brett has her way, we're going to have more of these conversations. But Ryan, he might be just voting that way because we know his father voted that way, and that's just
Mm, that's
tradition to
very
him.
true.
That's just tradition to him, and nobody's ever had that conversation with him. And now Eric, like I said, he was doing the thing, but Eric is like, that's how it's always been with me. That's how my family is, and so that's what I do. You know, that was his answer. So yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think now. But I think we're going to be definitely having these conversations. I really want to go over what Tia just said. A new study shows that parents are more likely to object to their kids marrying someone of another party than marrying someone of another race. Political affiliation matters. Yeah, it does matter because it's not just about money. It comes down to there's other factors. There's race, there's Roe v. Wade, there's other factors that have to do with your political party. It's not just economics. So,
Okay.
but Brett knows that, or Brett understands that, and that's in the forefront of her mind. But I don't think that Ryan's thinking of it like that. So I just think it's really
Mm.
interesting. Yeah. A black man voted for Trump more than black. Yeah. Black men voted for Trump more than black women. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gilded did.
I
No, I don't
think
think he said that. He didn't actually say it though, Tia. Did he actually say it? Maybe. Well, that's what I was saying in the beginning that we think he's an independent. Yeah. I thought, I don't think I heard him say it actually. Did you hear it? Because like I said, I wasn't. Did you hear him say?
no, but that's what I picked up. That's what I was getting. For I'm not trying to like put them on the same boat, but they all have that same attitude and behavior that nothing is wrong with how they think or what they're doing. And like you said, he's very traditional. So I think whatever his father believes, whatever his grandfather believed, that's what he's marking on his ballot too. So that's what I took from it. I didn't
You're talking
actually
about Ryan.
hear,
You're talking about
yeah,
Ryan, or yes,
that's
yeah, I agree with that.
Ryan.
Ryan,
So
I
I
agree
didn't
with that.
actually hear a political party said, but that's I was reading between the lines with that, and that's what I got from it.
I agree. I think that that's what that they told him to vote that way, so he voted that way. With Gil, I just think that's I, I don't. You're just contradicting yourself. So with Gil, I'm kind of side eyeing that more, and I think that,
Yeah,
and he's really teasing her a lot. Like the teasing is more than teasing. He means something behind it, but he's it's more,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. So I think it's going to be very interesting conversations coming up. And just like you said with Brett, she's thinking big picture if you're voting Republican, whereas Ryan might be just, that's what I did. You know, my father did it, my grandfather did it, and and the economy. That's it, you know. That's all he's thinking.
What I
He's not
will say about Ryan is that he did seem more in his element this episode when they were in the kayaking and the paddleboarding. Like I said before, he needs to be in his element or he's just like a fish out of water. But he seemed a little more present this episode. I won't say that I don't think he was enjoying himself, but he seemed more present doing like the outdoor activities and stuff with Brett. But again, I don't see any chemistry with them. Even when they kissed on the kayak, it looked very forced. It looked very like
staged.
insert kiss here. This is what we're supposed to do here. So yeah, but that's all I have for Brett and Ryan.
Yeah, and I think the fact that she doesn't want to, and the plane, we gave her grace on that because a lot of people are not, easy flyers, but I think he's thinking, do you not get out at all? Like, I think, like, she was so
Right.
nervous about this paddle boarding. And I'm like, okay. So he's like, just turn around, just turn around. And he's just like, oh gosh. And I think that he is an outdoorsy kind of guy. And he definitely said that the hunting is only once a year, but I think he likes to do other stuff. And I think he's just finally
Mhm.
relaxing and starting to enjoy himself. Um, I do have a question though. Yes, Tia said from day one, we knew Ryan was not into Brett, enough said. And I love how Tia gives her bullets. But I want to talk about how I've been saying, and we've been saying, the stress behind the eyes. I said that there's like some kind of there's an orchestra going on, but he's just not saying it. I was watching another person's review. Shout out to Jasmine W. And she said that she was watching it with her father, and he said it looks like alcoholism. It looks like an alcoholic. You know how they, you can't,
Mm.
the stress, it comes out in different ways. And I was like, huh, that. And Tia, watch out for that next time. I wonder if that might be it. It might be, alcoholism or something like that, or just prolonged use. So yeah, there's definitely a disconnect with Ryan. And the sad thing is, people are seeing it on the screen. He may not notice it. He may not think it's there. So, yeah. hmm Yeah. So that's it that I can think of with them. I just think her wardrobe needs a huge overhaul. Whew, these
Brett?
flower dress, her wardrobe needs a huge overhaul. These flower dresses are killing me. And she thinks she is,
Maybe she's wearing them for Ryan. She's like, "You from the farm? I'm gonna wear my little farm dress."
she needs to stop. She,
I was like, it was cute. It was her the black was it sunflower, the crop top and the skirt. It was cute. Would I have worn that on my honeymoon? I don't think so.
right.
But
The flower dress the first dinner night. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Monique said, I think Jasmine W's dad had a point. Ryan also sweets a lot. Oh, sweats a lot. Yes, sweats a lot. That's another sign. But the sweating, I was giving him grace on it because it is the Florida Keys. So I didn't really think that it was that, but you're right. I thought about the sweating, but I said, oh, it may not be that, but the stress behind the eyes, that I definitely thought. So Tia was saying, I thought I remember Brett saying that she is a softball coach. Why do people keep saying that she isn't athletic? Yes. I don't know who's saying that because she is. You can be shapely and still be athletic. She's a softball coach and a history teacher. So she does both at the school. It and confirm with me, it may not be history, but it is something. She's a teacher and a coach and a softball coach. So
don't give me the line. I know she's a teacher. I
mhm.
don't know of what, but
Yeah.
I know she teaches high
Yes,
school.
Tara.
That's all I remember.
Yes, that's exactly what I was like. Get a good bra, girl. That's exactly what I was thinking, Sharon. I said, sweetheart, let me go get you a fitting. That's what I was like.
She's dressing for the occasion because they at that retirement home.
Yes, she's dressing for the occasion.
Like
Man,
I felt like I kind of feel like she's dressing as if she's already like as if they're already been married
married.
for years. She's already had the kids and like that's what I get from her every time I see her. I'm like, you've been married for 2 days. Why
Right.
are you like in this? She
These
just seems
flowers.
very comfortable all the time.
Yes, very comfortable. And yeah, now on this instance, she needs to take a page from Mirla. Get a few cute dresses and, or just not as flowery because she's already got the fiery hot red hair. She doesn't need anything else, yeah, to
That's
bring attention.
another thing. that's hard to pull off because you can go from looking okay to Ronald McDonald very quickly
very
with red
quickly.
hair like that. You have to like be mindful of what you're wearing.
Yes, you have to be mindful. You know that you've got the fiery red hair. So in the other elements, you can tone it down. So, right. So, um, I'm still side eyeing. Honestly, this whole episode, I was like, I don't have any faith in any of them. Let's go to the next person. So, I don't know if we're finished with them, but do you want to go to the bow of it all? Oh, I forget my banners.
Yes, let's go ahead. I don't know where let's begin with her being present. Johnny calling her out, kind of picking up on sorry. He's kind of picking up on the whole buzz killer vibe. Like, can you be present in the moment? I'm pouring my heart out to you and your mind's somewhere else. So I appreciate it. Like I said before, I love his communication, his assertiveness with her. He doesn't just let things linger. So I appreciated that. I don't know. I don't know if Bao will get it, if it will stick long enough. I think it might stick while they're there, but as soon as she opens back up her tablet and sees one of the spreadsheets, I think her mind's gonna be gone again. But I loved that he was able to communicate that to her. Like, can you just be in the moment here on your honeymoon?
Yeah, and I said this the other night that I feel bad for Bao. I agree with you, and I truly think that this was unfair to Johnny on a lot of levels. I feel and Bao, the fact that she's at this point where she went through this process and she filled out the application for this is great. So this is probably a huge feat for her, but and she's a walking contradiction herself because we're gonna get to the showering in a second. Going back to and this last episode reminded me of her having a fit over the miscommunication with the presents, with the gifts. He got her noise canceling headphones for travel. He wrapped it up in an away jersey. It wasn't a jersey, and he got her picture frames for their house. I want you when I'm home, and I want and when we travel. She didn't get the card. Fine. She literally has a mental fit. Like her brain went into serious mental gymnastics, and she said, "I want a brilliant mind. I wanted a brilliant mind. I wanted a Pulitzer Prize winning um, winner. She wanted that." And she just kind of had a fit for a while. And I even looked at her. The look on her mother's face was like, "Oh gosh!" And I'm wondering if this happened before, right? She's done this before. So we last week we or a week before last we had the issue with the snoring, and I get it. People, women snore. It's although she is uncomfortable with it and she's self-conscious about it. She told him about it. Then she brings it up again this morning, and he's like, "Will you just kind of relax? Will you just kind of let's be present? Let's have a good time. Let's get to know each other." And then it's almost like, again, same with Rachel. It's like she's trying to warn him. She's trying to give him every horrible thing so he can run. She wants him to run because somebody said this last week, like, I don't even know why she brought this up. I don't even know why she brought up that I don't shower right now. But for her to bring this, it's just like it's compounded and compounded and compounded another thing that Johnny has to get over, another thing that he has to get used to. And he just wants to have a good time and get to know this girl on his honeymoon. He has let this girl know, I like you, I'm interested, I'm all in. but I think that she has suffered depression. And I said this last week when we were the preamble to this show, that when she said, I have gone through a lot of low lows. And I said, wow. So to me, saying that, that was a huge red flag to me. And I said this before, that she probably doesn't even know that she should take a shower. She just gets in bed, or she just stays in bed for 2 or 3 days and doesn't shower. It is horrible. Let me finish. Um, but to me, and when we were saying, well, after you go work out, this is where I and don't laugh, because this does happen with people that are severely depressed. But to me, I'm like, if you're working out, workouts make you feel rejuvenated, and workouts give you a sense of um, happiness, and you're like getting, you're working out. I say one, either she's not working out, or right after the workout, she gets in the car and she's back down, because there's
Hmm.
no way. Now this is where I change that a little bit. So you've worked out. Like, I've had, over the past year, I've done yoga here in the house. And I'm like, the hot yoga, and then like sweaty and everything. I'm like, oh, I gotta take a shower. If I get in the bed and you get in the bed, you wrap up in some sheets and a blanket, the funk has definitely surrounded you. You start to smell yourself. So to me, either she's not working out, or um she hasn't gotten to that place where to that she's like, I got to do better. I think that, just like somebody else has been oversharing, she thinks that she's not going to measure up. She's like, I'll never measure up to him. And um I'm just going to self-sabotage this now. When people are depressed, they don't even think that they deserve better. So they just get in bed after a workout, or after doing something strenuous, or after going on a run, and just get right back into bed. They don't they don't want to they don't want to face the day. They don't want to face whatever is out there. And it's sad, and it's actually sad. And there are people that do that. But if she's doing that, but then she got to a place where I'm struggling with it. She got to a place to fill out this application for this show, go through this psychological evaluation, and now she's been paired with somebody that she gets along with. That's where I'm that's where I'm struggling with it. So, and this is not fair to Johnny, because she did not phrase it like, she said low lows, but did she phrase it like, I've been depressed in the past, I've had some issues. You already see that I have anxiety and I overthink. You already see that. You already see that I'm very self-conscious. She didn't phrase it like, help me. She phrased it
Hmm.
like, I got some weird quirks,
Yeah,
and when you
exactly.
get over it. So that's that's where I struggle with it. But it definitely sounds like there's more there. There's some clinical issues there. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I know I over talked. Go ahead.
You're fine. But I was just like, at first I agree with Monique King. At first I was just like, this girl is nasty. She's, because it's weird, because how do you have OCD? How are you so particular? And it's like Johnny said the same things. He has OCD, he's particular, but he showers 3 times a day. How do you not? How do you go only going a week showering 3 times? And so it's kind of, because there's so many layers and sides to it, because you see how she's so wrapped up in being bullied for snoring, and snoring isn't feminine. I don't know, like, she just, and it's not even, I don't want to say she hasn't been through anything. I'm sure she's been through things, but it's like her mind really, like, really like maximizes it by like 20. So it's
You know,
like people teasing you for your snoring doesn't mean you need to stop snoring or you should just stay awake for 10 days straight to avoid snoring. And it's like even the things that she talks about coming to America and not knowing English and being teased for that and being poor and having to walk by her house so people don't know she lives there. I think she does have a lot of childhood traumas that she just maximizing to the highest power in her mind. So I think she does need therapy for that. Is the depression stopping her from taking a shower? I think it's a habit. I think it might be a mixture, but I
it
really
might be
just think
mixed.
it's a habit. I think some people have a habit of cleaning up after themselves, taking a shower. My whole thing is you live in Texas. Texas is hot, it's humid. How are you only taking 3 showers a week? Then you go on a honeymoon to Florida
So
and you jump in that dirty water, you parasailing, and you telling me you didn't want to take a shower like
so
Johnny, and it's like Johnny's smelling something because he said just rinse off. Why can't you just rinse off? Like he's
he just
already annoyed. So
one, you
I
don't
think he's
I'm
already
sorry.
smelling something.
So one, you don't have to have gone through something to be depressed. One, you can just be self-conscious. You can
Mhm.
just and it is like you said to the nth degree. One, no, you shouldn't have to stay up on not sleep for a week because but in her culture or to people, snoring is not feminine. She's even if Johnny told her it's not a big deal, she thinks it is a big deal, and she's gonna keep thinking. She's like, he's just being nice. This is a huge deal. I'm self-conscious. She's not picking up on things like this man doesn't want the pillow in the middle, but she keeps doing it because it's more for her. And this is where in certain things I definitely think that she's depressed. I definitely think it's not just nasty. I think it's there's something else. And besides that, she's been able to hide this because she lives alone. I don't know that her brothers or mother know it's to this extent. They may think that she's got self-esteem issues or self-conscious, but they don't know that this girl does not shower enough. Um, because she lives alone and she can hide it. People can be walking and going about their day, but still be depressed. They can still go to work every day, but still be depressed. They can do it. Um, uh, but where I side eye is her saying that she's had a one night stand and that a lot of her past relationships were physical first and then mental, but then you want to Pulitzer Prize winning person, or just the contradict her other contradictions don't make any sense in this instance. You understand what I'm saying? Like you're so
Mm-hmm.
self-conscious, you have all of these issues about yourself, but then you want this person to
Right.
be this leader, this, um, scientist. You wanted a man, you wanted all, you wanted a nerd, you wanted all these things. Um, and that's why doesn't understand it. That's why Johnny's not going to be able to understand that it is a condition or something that she's used to doing or not doing because and my thing is her digging her heels in because some people can be depressed and something in life can get them out of it, like meeting the right person, like falling in love and getting married. Then they're like, oh wait, whatever's going on with me, I either need to stop it or get better or do some things to turn myself around or get back on
Right.
track. And for her to dig her heels in and not to say, you know, just take a shower once a day. Like, and he wasn't even asking her to do 3 times a day. Him through doing 3 times a day
Right.
is much. I agree with that. It is much. But
But they're in Florida and
right,
they're
that's
doing
exactly what I
these
was about to say.
activities.
But they're in Florida.
Maybe, but that's
Go ahead.
might not be his everyday thing because I don't think he has time to do that every day. But I think she's just picking up on what she's seeing. But like Merle keeps saying, they're all doing these things on their honeymoon. This is
Mhm.
not to say that they do things this way when they're back home.
No, I agree. When and that's why I said I don't even want to know why she brought it up because to me, if he's in Florida and she's like, I see that you take showers 3 times a day. I said they're in the Florida Keys. It's probably hot and sticky there. I don't even know why she brought it up.
Right.
So when they got back home and they lived with each other for about a week and their day to day. So to me, it's almost like she's warning him and self-sabotaging herself because that's why I said I don't even think her family knows that she doesn't do this or all of her quirks because they don't live with her and she doesn't
Child,
have
they
to
probably
say it.
watching like, what in the world?
Yeah, no, they're probably like, what's going on? You don't shower? Like what? So what's up with it? What's going on? So to me, why did she even bring it up is what I'm thinking. Because a lot, like I just said, if you are depressed, a lot of people don't even say anything. They're just walking around every day doing their thing. So yeah, it's it is definitely a problem. It is definitely a problem. And I could even see if she works from home and in the house all day and didn't do anything, then maybe once, but like, huh, I just don't know why she even brought it up. Like it's, mm, I think she's trying to
I want
warn.
to point out what Monique King said. She said, just let me be smelly by myself was just a really odd statement. So I noticed that too. It's like she wants to stay in her, like, I don't know if that's her
So,
comfort zone, even with the snoring. Well, I'll just go sleep in the other bed. Do you want me to go to the other bed? I'll just go. So when it comes to just jumping in the shower and rinsing off, as Johnny says, well, just let me sleep on the couch. I'll sleep. It's like
and she
her
doesn't understand.
resolution is always isolating herself. It's never
Right.
really any
No, you're
actual
right.
resolution.
Monique, you're right. And what I took from that is go be smelly by myself. And Johnny's like, so you're going to take the funk from your butt to the couch. And she's not understanding that. So she's like, I won't take it into the bedroom. But Johnny's like, you're going to take it on the couch. That's exactly why I was like, but then it's going to be on the couch. Then we got to change the couch cushions. Like, and she's not understanding that. But also, go be smelly by myself. There was something else I meant to say about that. You're right. That is a very telling statement. uh, can I just go be smelly? I had a really good one too. But the yeah, go be smelly by let me just be but her showering, she doesn't understand that showering is I think she looks at it as a chore or another duty to do or another thing to do. And showering is going to make you freshen up. It's going to make, not just to revitalize you, but to cleanse you and to make you feel fresh and everything. She doesn't look at it like that. And that's what I got. And I don't think it's right,
Yeah, that is
Monique
weird.
and everybody. Trust me, I shower. I don't think it's right, but that's what came off to me. Let me go be smelly by myself. I said, oh, so you don't look at a shower as a good thing. You look at it as another chore or another thing, and that's what's I just think that's sad. And that's a depression. That's a kind of a that's some, there's more there. The hammock is also
Mm.
very telling, like you said, let me isolate. And I think at first, and that's why Johnny's like why are you always hot and cold? Because he was like, well, do you want me to get in there with you? And I think she was serious at first. And she was like, yeah, there's plenty of them over here. She was like, I'm just joking. How's he gonna know you're joking when you keep doing stuff like this?
And she doesn't even have a joking face or demeanor. She's just so, like, she looks like she's in her head. Like, even when she's speaking to him, it looks like she's like I forget who, someone said it in the comments, when she talks, her head's always down. It's like she's just so like in her brain. I'm like,
Right.
girl, relax.
Yeah, she's constantly over analyzing. The only time I feel that she's looking at him is when they were talking about the dad. When they were talking about the dad
She
looking
seems
over in the hotel.
really happy. That was the only time she's even really shown compassion towards him or
Hmm.
any type of emotion when she's like, I'll speak Vietnamese, I'll do this. Like she was so like into that. And
Right.
even with like, I feel like that's, it's not the only time she's touched him, but it was like she was so like, I don't know why that like pulls a
Comforting.
string on her
Yeah,
heart, but it does.
it does. It really, it comforts her. It makes her, it just made her light up. And I said, huh, this is really weird. And so, yeah, I think the showering thing is a depression though. That's a psychosis somewhere. And I'm not a doctor, especially that type of doctor. I can't, but and I'm not saying it's right, but that's what I think.
Right.
There's no way. Yeah, there's no way. Um, and what did you think about her saying that she um in her past relationships has been physical first? Oh, this is one part that's huge. I'm sorry to interrupt you guys.
Okay.
Everyone listen, remember this part after they finished talking about the dad? Johnny went in for a kiss and he wanted to get a little deeper kiss and he went to open his mouth and she started laughing.
She did what she always does. She is such a buzz killer. I understand when Johnny has said so many times this episode, I would have ran. Like you don't understand. Like I would be gone. If we were dating, I would have been gone by now. Maybe it's good that we're married, but I that's a lot. I get it. I get it. He's going through a lot with her to just make a stable connection. And
It's
it's
not
yeah,
fair
I
to
was like,
him.
here she go again. I was annoyed because I'm like, it's gonna become a point where it's like I don't want to be I don't want to be too graphic, but there was an excitement there for him. She was for him for her. Like he was excited. There was an excitement, and slowly but surely that excitement is gonna dwindle down, and she's not gonna be able to get any excitement out of him, if you know what I mean. Because every time he tries to take it there, she's shutting him down. She's doing something that turns him off. So don't mess it up by permanently turning him off.
Yes, I think that's exactly what I think. And a lot of people have been taking issue with the fact that he keeps saying, if we were dating, I'd be out of here. I'd be back on the apps. But at the same time, I'm like, she's giving you every ammunition to get back on the apps. Like I said, like, and you just said, she lit up when they were talking about the dad. She was encouraging. They were touching each other. He was like, okay, I want to make out with my wife. And she starts laughing. And I said, you literally defeated him when you started laughing. And I was like, that was like a gut punch to Johnny. That's all he's been wanting to do is make out with his wife. And I think and everything is compounded to Bao. It might have been just the fact that the cameras were on them. But you need to give him some. You need and even if it's not sex. Because he has no idea if he's hot. You're hot and cold. He doesn't know if he's coming or going. He's like, I'm done. I don't see
Mm-hmm.
why, Kels. I don't. That makes no sense. Now they're married. It's like, and to me, you know how Johnny likes to joke. First, I was like, I think she's joking with him. I think. Oh, earlier in the same episode, and he's like, oh wow, we could have been married and had kids by now because. And she said, I'm a coward when it comes to those things. If you would have just called me back, or if we would have went out years ago. And she said, and she keeps calling herself a coward, just these words that I hate that, I hate that people call themselves stupid or a coward, and just the fact that, and I agree with you, Cindy, she's exhausting. And I think that he's going to get exhausted and he's just going to be like, this is too hard. And it's not fair to him because he's a really cool guy and he really wants to get to know his wife. But if she keeps, being hot and cold, yeah, yeah. I don't see why. Do you think that it's because she's upset about him being ghost or her ghosting him years ago?
I I'm keeping my statement that I said last week. She was not ghosted. They were not dating. They were literally friends, associates from a school club.
Right.
Like, so it's like I said before, she like dramatizes things and she takes things times 10. Like, he didn't ghost her. She shot her shot. He didn't respond. It's as simple as that. So the fact that she's even calling it ghosting, I think it shows that it's still like in the back of her head, like, oh, even when he was telling her, even when he said to her, because Johnny was being real, real honest. He's like, if I would have been gone, I've already like, if this was any normal date, I would have been gone. And I kind of saw in her head, she's kind of reverting back to that, him ghosting her. And so I saw like her anxiety and I saw worry. And I think he was communicating with her to tell her what he needs out of this. And she kind of went with anxiety and worry instead of saying, you know what? Okay, I need to be more open. I need to be more present. I saw like the worriedness come out of her in that. But
No, I agree. I think that he's so communicative and he's like trying
mhm.
to tell her if this was, years ago, we were just dating, this is the time when I leave. He's been very honest in saying, oh, back to the apps. And now that we're in this, I'm in this with you and I really want to, get to know you and everything. I don't think that she should be worried. I think that he's trying to tell her, listen, lighten up and let's just have a good time and get to know each other. But in her head, she's not translating it like that, just like you said. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Who? So, what did you get? I know that we just had a couple of phone and text conversations and FaceTimes with the Zach and Michaela of it all. But what did you see anything from their little interaction?
No, and yeah, it didn't, I don't know, maybe I missed it, but I don't see where they're communicating, Michaela and Zach. I see where like Zach's communicating with the other couples or Michaela's communicating with the other couples. So I hope like their overall communication, their attraction, whatever, didn't fall off from being apart. But yeah, it seems that's what I picked up from it because I don't know, maybe I missed something, but I didn't see really any of their interaction.
It seemed to me that he felt guilty for getting COVID, and she was fine with making him feel guilty getting COVID. And he's like, hopefully I can make it up to her. And he feels really bad for ruining her
Why do you even
honeymoon.
have to make that up? It's just crazy to me. It's
Right. I agree. I agree. And why did he just felt like his heart was heavy. He just felt like he had all of these things on him. And I'm like, bruh, you need to get better and not worry about all this stuff. But I almost feel like, and we said this, that, in her little tantrum, that she has no problem making him feel guilty and complaining about it. So, um, so now he's like sitting there worried this whole time. I do think it's strange that she didn't stay, but I do think that maybe she was in there complaining and having a little bit of a fit. And they said, well, maybe you should go home. The production was like, maybe you should go back to Houston so he can stay here and rest because she didn't have to. I think she could have got an adjoining room or another room. So
right.
I do think that it's going to be a lot of that. Like, I hope I can make it up to her because we already know he's extra sensitive. So it's going to be a very interesting month with with them, as we know. But I think he's already showing how he feels guilty instead of like feeling like he needs to get better and take care of himself. So yeah.
Right.
hmm hmm So
So
that's
went back to Val and Johnny. So what did you feel about this whole dad thing? Like I said, I knew the dad not being involved had to do something with him marrying a stranger and the dad not knowing if the wife was Asian. So do you think, well, I already know what you're gonna say, but do you really think that was a good enough reason to like not go to the wedding? Because I was like, yeah, I'm just like, I knew that's what it was, but to actually hear that, kind of get confirmation if that's what it was, I thought it was sad because, well, okay, I'll say this because I know all Black families are the same, aren't the same, but I know my family wouldn't do that if it was came to me marrying someone outside of my race. They wouldn't just not show up. Of course, they have a preference. They would prefer me to be with a Black man because of what Black people go through, and so to be able to relate and understand all that good stuff. I understand that, but I personally feel that sometimes Black people can be more accepting of interracial relationships versus, let's say, an Asian person only wanting their son, daughter to be with the Asian person. But those are my thoughts on it. But all I'm gonna say is I knew that's what it was, but it's 2021 and to not show up because of that, it says a lot, and it's kind of crazy to me. I know that they already don't have a good relationship, but it was just crazy to me to hear that. And I don't even think maybe Johnny's used to being around that, but it was like he wasn't even fazed by it. He wasn't even like, he was just
Johnny
like,
was
oh,
hurt.
my dad asks if you're Asian and blah, like he's used to that. Like, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
No, Johnny knew that. Johnny, so it didn't surprise me. His father probably is older. And even though he's 35, they're very traditionalist type of people. They're traditionalists, but yet they got a divorce. I thought that was interesting. But I don't think that he has and he said in the beginning, I don't have a really great relationship with my dad because he left and moved to California. But to not come out, my family would have been there in droves. Yes, that is what
Right.
they would prefer. But I got different nationalities in my family. Um, so no, my father would have been there to walk me down the aisle, the whole thing. They would have come out, oh no, you ain't getting married without us. So they wouldn't have
Mhm.
cared. But um and they know, the tradition of the Black family is to show up for your family. So that's it. Like there wouldn't have been a question on that end. They would have showed up. And no matter what, even if we don't agree with her choice in partner, we're showing up. Um, but with the father, it seems like he's so stuck in his ways, and for him to
Mhm.
leave and not leave and move to California, it sounds like he probably has had very little contact with his father in years, like only phone conversations with his father in years. Um, and he's such a traditionalist that did not surprise me at all. Um, and that Johnny confirmed you're Asian. Just he wanted to make him feel comfortable. Also, his father's probably not understanding this whole, not just social media, but this like reality type of show. And
Right.
not only are you getting married to somebody you've never met before, but then it's all going to be filmed. Like the whole thing was just crazy to him, and it probably is to a lot of people that this is just really off to him. So, um, I'm not surprised that he did not agree with it. Um, and he probably made it is sad. I agree with you. It is totally sad and wrong. And that wouldn't have been the case in my instance. And like you just said in yours. But him wanting her to be Asian and not getting married on TV, the whole thing. So yeah, it didn't surprise me. It was just sad and unfortunate. And now, and like he said, now that he knows that we get along so well, now um, you'll be able to meet him and make him feel comfortable and at ease. But I don't know if they're going to stay together. Not with her, not just relaxing and having all of these. And it's not, and remember, I think last week we said it was just quirks. These are more than
Yeah,
quirks.
it's just weird. Like
It's
it's
just a
just
lot.
like
And it's not,
flat out
it is
weird.
weird, but it's a lot for him to deal with. He doesn't, okay, you don't like the fact that you snore. I'll stop teasing you about it. But every time he thinks that everything's going good and we're going up the ladder, she just like shoves him down the ladder face first. So I'm like, oh, I don't even,
Yeah.
I have no
I
faith in
think
them either.
once because I think that whole running thing with Johnny being out once he sees red flags, I think that's gonna happen. I feel like that's actually gonna happen once they get back to Houston. Because right now they're on this resort, they're in Florida. To leave, he has to get on a flight, fly back. So I think once he's actually back in Houston, back in his own territory, I think she'll maybe, I don't know if she'll get it. Maybe her feelings will just be hurt and it'll be another thing to add to her list of traumas because I see him like flying out of this again once they're in Houston, like actually running and being like, I'm just gonna go back to my place because I don't want to deal with this. So I hope Bao gets it together. I really
Because he,
hope she
I hope
can
she gets
just
it
be
together.
present.
Because he's not
Hmm.
understanding and she's not like actually explaining it to him in a way that he can understand. And it's almost like she needs more help than he can give her. She needs an actual therapist help and it's it's almost like he's going to have to take her to the store. What scents do you like? Let's try these bath scents. Let's do this. That's not for him to do. But he's going to
You
have to
have to
say,
run the
this is
bath
why
water
you
for
shower.
her.
No, this is why you shower. Now, after you shower, don't you feel fresh and clean and don't you feel revitalized? But right now, I think that she's looking at it as just
It's
another
like
chore or another
babysitting.
thing to do. Um and she doesn't look at this as like a good thing. And when you're depressed, you're like you don't want to move. You just get in the bed. So I don't actually think that she is, and she doesn't need to work out. Look at her; she's at 00. Like she doesn't need to work out, so she
Hmm.
may not be even working out. Or if it is a workout, it might be something so light that she's probably
Like
not
yoga.
sweating.
That's probably what
Yeah,
she'd be doing.
she does a lot of yoga. So I don't think that there is workouts that she's like, oh my God, I'm funky. It can't be. Like, I just don't, yeah. She doesn't have a dog that she's rolling
Yeah.
around in the mud. Like, she's not seeing it and like other people are. So it's not translating to her. And it's sad because that's another contradiction to me because you wanted a nerd, you wanted this person, you got that, and now every issue is coming up. It's so, yeah, it's a trip. Hmm.
Mm, that's true.
Yep. I think that's everybody. Is that everybody?
That's everybody.
Wow, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for sticking around with us. This episode was a trip. There's going to be more episodes coming up. There's going to be a trip. This Sunday we're doing Ready to Love is the episode before the season finale. Apparently,
Mhm.
Eric is going salsa dancing.
The
So
reunion. Mhm.
I'm sorry, the reunion. What did I say? The I don't know.
The season
The season
finale
finale
is Sunday.
is Sunday.
Then after
Then
that's
the
the
then the
reunion,
reunion.
which is what
Sorry,
we're waiting for.
which is really what
So
we're
I'm
waiting
like,
for. Which is really what we're waiting
yes.
for. So this has been a trip. You're gonna stay tuned because Crystal, Candy Convo with Crystal. I'm going to have Misha and Kia Simone. They're going to drop in on my chat with Chris Natha, and she's a life coach, and we're going to be talking about the power of no. Something Kia always says is no is a complete sentence, and just getting through boundaries and yeah, and not letting somebody manipulate you. So I love to throw a question out there that our guests may not know is coming. So that'll be fun. And then Misha and I and Kia are going to be starting something new come September. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be CMK. It's got a lot of juicy questions for everyone. Please, Misha, as Misha always says, definitely like both of our channels and like, share, and subscribe. But I love to give Misha the last word. Sorry.
Thank you guys for joining us. I wanted to do a quick shout out. I got my book today from Janice Hilton. She's also an author, YouTuber. She reviews Married at First Sight, all these good shows, but she sent me her book, 10 Years a Girlfriend. So I wanted to give her a shout out. I have tons of her books, so many of her books. They're so good with helping you date and know your worth and all that good stuff. And also shout out to Kia Simone. She was in the chat too. And she's also an author. Her book From Pain to Love. And yeah, so look up both of these amazing Black authors. So we have Janice Hilton and Kia Simone. They are both on Amazon. So if you ever need a good book, check them out. And yeah, as always, subscribe, like, and we will be back Sunday.
Yeah, we'll be back Sunday. Thank you.